Here's how you can play medium builds cutting through the country by ear. This video is for songwriters looking for inspiration. It's for musicians of all kinds wanting to develop their ear, and for anyone who wants to see the inner workings of great songs. This video is not for guitarists looking for an exact tab to replicate what another guitar player has done. Instead, I'm going to be talking about broad musical concepts that will make you a more fluent musician. With that said, I'm Jake Farr, a songwriter and guitarist based out of Austin, Texas, and I'm going to show you how to play the song by ear. But the very first step in order to really understand a song is to just listen to it and listen to your impressions. See what you originally think when you listen. So my first thoughts when I'm listening to this is it makes me want to move like this, and anytime I have this sensation in my body, I'm knowing that that is probably some sort of 4/4 time signature. If I was swaying back and forth, then I would know it was in a 6/8, but when I've got this feeling, that's how you know it's in 4/4. First impression, we can definitely listen for that later and make sure. Also, it feels pretty heavily produced. I'm hearing lots of like kind of background synth noises, as well as some standard guitar, bass, drum type stuff as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that chord that just happened, I don't know, it doesn't say on my computer, it's about a minute in, it feels like a chord that's not in the key. I'm going to rewind it just a little bit so you can hear it. Kind of a surprise right there. Okay, so now that we've confirmed I was feeling that kind of 4 beats, we're probably in some sort of 4 time signature. The next thing I'm going to be doing is looking for a tonal center. I'm looking for a note that sounds consonant most of the time. For those of you that don't know, consonance is the opposite of dissonance. Dissonance is this sound, whereas consonance sounds nice. Dissonance has got a very, jarring sound to it. So I'm looking for a consonant note that might be our tonal center here. Okay, so I think it's E flat. You can hear how it doesn't always sound great, but most of the time it does. Let me play a note that's not consonant so you can hear what that sounds like. Not good. That sounds nice. Okay, E flat is like the guitar player's least favorite key, unless you happen to be maybe a jazz guitarist or something where you play in a lot of flat keys. We don't like E flat. It's very possible as we're getting deeper into this song that the strings were tuned down a half step on their guitar. That way you could just play an E and it would sound like an E flat instead of an E. Or that we're going to use our capo and we're going to capo up so we can use another friendly guitarist chord shape. But before we do that, we just found the tonal center is E flat. Now, when I'm going in to listen to the chord progression, I have expectations. Half of ear training is expectations. And the expectation that I have is he's going to be using the 1, 4, and 5 chords. Those are the 3 major chords in any key. If there's a minor, I'm going to try 6 first. And then, like I said, I kind of got this impression that he was using a chord that was not in the key somewhere in there. So we can talk about that as it comes up too. But going into any song, you're always thinking 1, 4, and 5. So in the key of E flat, that's going to be E flat, A flat, and B flat. Our 6th chord would be C minor, and our 2 chord would be F minor. So there's a potential that we might have some of those too. Okay, start on the 1 chord, and that is not uncommon. The 1 chord's the most popular chord. It's not always the one that you're going to start with, but it is definitely the one that he started with here, and it's another expectation you should have going into a song. There's our 4 chord. Cutting through the country. One again. 4. There's our minor 6 chord, most common minor chord. Back to 4. Okay, that sounds like a 2 chord to me. You'll notice I'm humming the chords first. Whenever I hear a chord, I always hum it, and that kind of gives my body the pitch. It's all about coming from your ear to vocalizing or feeling it in your body and then finding it on the guitar. Okay, so right there, that was a 2 chord. That was an F that he went down to. And I couldn't tell if it was an F minor, which we would expect the 2 chord to be minor, or if it was an F major. And it may have been ambiguous at this point. I think that was the borrowed chord I heard later, but I didn't really get the major 2 chord vibe yet. 1, 4, 2. Yep. Okay, so right then when he went to the 2 chord, I definitely heard that it was an F major, which if you're familiar with normal keys, the 2 chord is normally minor. So this is a borrowed chord. That's why that moment feels like a surprise. And the way that you can instantly recognize a borrowed chord is by playing songs that have them, analyzing them, and then starting to realize, like, how do these chords make me feel? And anytime I hear the major 2 chord, it sounds like a surprise. That's the best way I can describe it. Back to 4. Okay, so the song builds a lot emotionally. You can hear lyrically and vocally, he's really building the tension. As far as the chord progression goes, it's pretty much just doing the same thing over and over again. He's mostly playing the 1 chord, in this case E flat, to the 4 chord back and forth. After a while, he comes up to our minor 6 chord. And then on occasion, he hits a major 2 chord, which is F major. Now that we've discovered the main chord progression and the main chords used in this song to get this sound, I want to take a deeper look how you might play it if you're a guitarist, or what additions to these chords you might make if you are playing on any instrument. Okay, so the first thing I hear is that synth in the background. It may be hard for you guys to hear it over this video, but it goes... Yeah, I heard like a fifth, so that noise right there. Let's, if you can hear it right here. Okay, so I'm hearing this very drony sound. Like that is what the synthesizer is doing in the background. And it was doing that on an E flat chord, root, 5th, root. But he keeps that happening even when he goes to the 4 chord. So in order to get a drone sound like that, where the root and the 5th are kind of there all the time, I'm going to try putting my capo on fret 3 and playing a C chord, which is going to give me an E flat, but on the top 2 notes I'm going to play a root and a 5th. So I got... necessarily love it, but let me try a different one. I'm going to capo 1, put it in D. That sounds better. I'm going to go into drop D. So if you happen to be a guitar player, I'm going to link a tab of the different ways I played this. I'll show you the bar chord way. I'll show you the way that was pretty simple in the key of C with a capo on 3, and then I'll show you maybe my favorite one if I was going to cover this song, which is going to be doing drop D, capo 1, and using this really pretty chord set. Feels like the song. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful to see behind the scenes of how I would go about listening to a song, understanding the rhythm, understanding the bass and the chord progression, and how you can take that and really let it blossom into a lot of different ways of playing a song like a fluent musician. If you have another song that you'd like me to do a video like this on, please put it in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.